What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Porter Robinson's third album, Smile. Only 3 years since the last Porter Robinson album, Nurture, back in 2021, an album that had been 7 years since his debut. And this 10-year span of Porter Robinson's career has seen Porter go through quite the artistic evolution and reinvention. Of course, that debut album, Worlds, largely in line with the traditional, bombastic, more mainstream EDM of the mid-2010s. And Nurture 3 years ago really blew me away and surprised me for what it was and what it wasn't, which is certainly an artistic and sonic pivot for Porter as he put his vocals front and center on the music, doing all kinds of instrumentation and bringing in, frankly, a lot of genres into the fore. His song Look at the Sky from that album made my top 10 songs of 2021. So now we're back with Smile, and this is largely in line with what was going on with Nurture. We haven't backslid, so to speak, but I think Porter, to his credit, has continued to evolve and hone what kind of artist he is. What I find most rewarding about Porter Robinson's third album, Smile, is that Porter continues to be a much more interesting artist than he was back when he debuted. The fact that he is putting his vocals so heavily on the album and largely sticking within a range that he can effectively sing in as well. But the fact that he's able to get quite emo on this album, something I wasn't necessarily expecting, but he gets pretty introspective as well and quite personal and downtrodden alongside these other maximalist, big, synthy, more mainstream leaning pop bangers. And that juxtaposition, perhaps it's a bit muddy. I certainly lean towards the louder stuff than I do the softer stuff on this album, but there's a lot of multitudes with what's going on from Porter on Smile. I find it just really cool that Porter has been able to really establish himself and separate himself from some of his past, mainstream EDM peers. Like, his music now feels so different from those early days. I mean, right off the bat with track 1, Knock Yourself Out XD, singing delivery, very poppy from Porter. His high notes, a bit meh. For the most part, he doesn't really try the high notes. He does on this song, don't work too well. But there's kind of fun sound effects over a pretty simple drum loop. And you get, I think, really fun, crazy line deliveries on this. I don't know my schedule on the 5th. Bitch, I'm Taylor Swift. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. Some of his lines don't make a lot of sense, but they're fun. And as the tempo picks up, the fun continues. I think this is a kind of ridiculous emo EDM pop song. Pretty fun. Track 2 is the lead single, Cheerleader. Tempo's quite high. The bridge, maybe a bit of an understated delivery, but I think the rest of the song really hits. It's a really lively song. Russian Roulette, I think this is where some of the most nonsensical songwriting comes across, just random punchlines, but it's a really fun rhythm despite the somber ending to the song. My favorite song on the album will be Perfect Pinterest Garden. Has that glitchy start, but this is just really boppy. Love the chorus, the guitar pops in, the refrain is just very catchy. I think this song is really awesome. Year of the Cup certainly stands out because it's quite the vibe shift across the album. You have this Lil Wayne interview sample being layered in, and it's an acoustic song where Porter starts getting quite emo on it. And yeah, I think it works. It's still pretty up tempo despite being a lot softer. You have Kitsune Mason Freestyle next. We have this kind of little baby voice delivery for the first time on the album. Easier to Love You and Mona Lisa featuring Frost Children. Both these songs are too soft for me. Porter's starting to get into the personal bag towards the end of the album here. I forgot what song it was, but he actually references having past suicidal thoughts and whatnot, and it kind of comes across as really jarring, because you hadn't really picked up on that to that degree throughout the album, so he kind of throws it at you, so to speak. The second to last song, though, I quite enjoyed as well. Is There Really No Happiness? Beats very lively. This is a nice, fun song, kind of in line with Cheerleader, Knock Yourself Out, and Perfect Pinterest Garden. I think those 4 really are weird, synthy, maximalist, electric pop, and it's just kind of fun, kind of unique, even if I think lyrically he can be a bit all over the place. Then Everything to Me, classic slow closer, so to speak. So like I said, I don't know if I would call this a cohesive record just because it's really up and down in terms of vibe, whether it's really high or really low, mood as well. And whether you connect with Porter's personal struggles, so to speak, talking about fame and his Achilles heel being his rampant need to please. Specific for sure, but it's not the most relatable thing, I think, for a lot of people, which is no problem. I just stick to the music. I think is more fun, and yeah, again, like I said, more than anything, thoughts on the album aside, I think Porter has really established himself as a kind of singular, unique talent in EDM, and he's definitely become more of a cult figure. Like you can look at his listening numbers for sure. He's definitely not as mainstream as he was back when he debuted. Like that era is long gone, honestly. But what I think he is now is a lot more rewarding, even if maybe it can be a bit messy, song to song, so to speak. But yeah, let me know. What do you think of Porter Robinson's third album, Smile? Are you enjoying this new version of Porter we've got in the last two albums? What do you want to see him do next? What do you most like about this new sound? Please let me know. And for more music reviews, subscribe. I'll see you next time.